I think that we're on the same wavelength and on the same path, perhaps,
Yes.
following perhaps the same journey. So, one of the things that I discovered when I started to explore my own well being, because I had worked 100 hours a week, 3 countries a week, out of a 43-meter apartment in Moscow, Russia,
Oh, wow.
and I was tired, I'll be honest. I moved from one country to another, from one train, one plane, one whatever. Sometimes I call them flap your wings or bring your own seatbelt or those sorts of things. Often
Right.
people would say, well, is that a safe airline? And our travel agent would say, well, Sharon flew it and she came back. It must be okay. And that's not
Yeah, if she's
necessarily
done
the
it, then it should
criteria
be
for being
fine.
a safe airline. Right. So, one of the things that I learned as I explored the concept of wellness and well being myself was that it's okay to say no.
Yeah.
And that no is a complete sentence. As a matter of fact, that sentence is in my first book on balance, B is for balance.
Okay.
And it's okay to say no. For
Right.
example, when someone says, can you do this for me? And perhaps you might say, well, my grandmother just passed and I can't do it. Or a teacher would say it in school and the student would come up with some sort of an excuse. The dog ate my homework. How many times can you use the same excuse over and over?
Yeah.
It does
Yeah.
not work. You need to be authentic when you're doing this.
That
So
is
we
more
talked
important.
about that and we talked about you and your perspective, which is completely different from mine.
Yes,
So,
it
what
is.
advice would you give to women leaders about the power of no and your philosophy, which is never say no? How does that work?
So, the way I look at things, Sharon, like I told you the other day, that uh, if you say no in the beginning, okay, I mean, you would never know how the yes looked. So I always say that, say yes, because a yes can become a no, but a no would never know how the yes looked,
I
right?
love it.
So I have always been following that you know there is always an opportunity to say that, okay, I tried it, I looked at it, but this is not something that I would like to do in my life, or this is not the job that I would like, or this is not the company that I would go, or this is not the house that I would like to stay. But if someone tells you that, okay, you know what, Sharon, there is a new apartment and there's, it's beautiful, why don't you come in this area and have a look? And if Sharon will say, no, I don't think, because I don't like that area, fair enough. But the philosophy that I follow in my life is that if someone is so appreciative about it, okay, and this someone knows me also, I would at least go and see it once. Not for the sake that I cannot say no to that person, but then I want to have an understanding in my mind, why did I say no to it? So I know it that many a times this has helped me, that you go with an yes, but then you come back and say, okay, you know what, I can't do. And this philosophy was taught to me the very first time. So I'll give you a little bit of a history there.
Please
So
do.
like I
Mhm.
said, that I was a homeopathic physician and I was also teaching in a medical transcription center. Okay, so here I'm like teaching to all these newbies, especially folks who are from the non-medical background, teaching them so that they can do the medical transcription with much ease. And that was a point when someone in my college informed me about Quintiles, which was a CRO in India, and it was maybe just 3 or 4 years old. And someone said, "Hey, there's an opportunity, and why don't you just they need physicians, so why can't you go and meet them?" And I was talking to this one of my student, and she was 72 years old. And so I was telling her that, hey, this, they're talking about this some corporate job, and I don't know how it is. So, and I don't think I've got a good job, and I'm teaching here, and I have my clinic, so why should I go and see this place? And that's when she said, okay, but why don't you just go and meet new people? Maybe you just meet new people, you'll know what's happening in the industry, and you can always say no. That, I don't want to say no. And that stuck to me. And I feel that, I went for that meeting, and rest is history for me. So I'm really stuck with that philosophy.
Well, that philosophy just spurred another question. And the
Okay.
question is, did that concept of just meeting people ever result in new business or a new relationship for you?
Oh, so I'll tell you that, this incident that I gave you, the very first incident,
Hmm.
was going and interviewing for Quintiles, which then became IQVIA. And that's where I was for 20 years. So yes, it kind of changed my whole path. It changed the way I have, it got me much more closer to my purpose. And I did what I enjoyed doing. So yes, that philosophy helped me. And otherwise also, like, I'll give you another example. When I was in college, and there was this tournament of playing badminton, okay, and I'm an average badminton player, I'm not
Hmm.
like a great badminton player. And I was just walking through the road, and I overheard somebody saying that, I would love to play badminton, but I don't have a partner. And I said, hey, I can be your partner.
Of
Okay, do
course.
you play badminton? Yes, I do play badminton. And okay, the game didn't go that well because that person was a champion, whereas I was not. But that has resulted now into a 30-year-old friendship, which is like my best friend forever. So yes, I mean, this philosophy has always helped me. Have I regretted this philosophy anytime? Typically not, because like I said, that I try to focus on what learnings is out of that incident rather than the incident itself.
Right. And it sounds as if that 72-year-old student of yours led
Yeah.
you toward a path that you might otherwise not have taken.
Never ever. So that is why, if you see in most of the talks that I give, or when I talk to people, I always believe that life is all about the choices we make. There will be always time when you are given choices, and you make that choice. You decide, and that's what designs your life and your path. And I would just call it out to people that it is okay to take risks sometimes. It's okay to go into waters which you have never swum. It is okay to take some decisions from which you will learn something. At least you will have some thrill doing it. So you should be taking the risk. You should be being little bold in taking those making those choices for yourself.